everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Dan Pardo, and this is Pardo's Turn, my ongoing podcast and web series where I analyze a classic show tune from a music director's point of view, and with the help of a special guest, perhaps shed some light on what makes the gems of our musical theater canon so great. In this episode, I am so happy to reconnect with the fantastic Catherine Porter, whom I met years ago doing a production of the unauthorized autobiography of Samantha Brown, but whom I just saw recently alongside my previous Pardo's Turn guest Elizabeth Ward Land in the Linda Ronstadt tribute, Still Within the Sound of My Voice. Catherine has had a fascinating and eclectic performance career touring the world, both with theatrical stage productions and as a backup singer with the Brian May Band of Queen. As a singer-songwriter herself, Catherine has recorded several solo albums of both covers and original material, and also has a folk band, Shotgun Wedding. Some of her biggest stage roles include Only the Lonely on the West End, Sunset Boulevard opposite Hugh Jackman, and Next to Normal on Broadway, standing by for the role of Diana. Today we are going to explore a bit of Diana's signature song, I Miss the Mountains. For those unfamiliar with Next to Normal, the Pulitzer Prize-winning rock musical by Tom Kitt and Brian Yorkey centers around a suburban mother struggling with bipolar disorder, and the effects that the disease, along with depression, grief, psychotherapy, and a heavy dose of medication, has on her and her family. I Miss the Mountains is a heart-wrenching testimony of how Diana feels numb to the world as a result of her daily pill regimen. It beautifully captures her battle between finding functional stability and losing that divine spark that makes her life worth living. Much like what we discovered in For Forever from Dear Evan Hansen, the song starts out in a fog of suspended chords, which, given her daily cocktail of medication, makes a whole lot of sense. She's safe and harmless in this haze of harmonic ambiguity, but she's also devoid of any drama. There's no tension in the chords, no opportunity for emotional highs and lows. The introduction has neither the melancholy of the jazz age, the histrionics of opera, nor the grit and power of rock. Just a tranquil folk verse sung freely and wistfully in accordance to Kitt's initial tempo marking. Melodically, the verse is also pretty sedate, staying within a single octave towards the bottom of the singer's range. There aren't many big leaps present, just small steps and skips going up and down a mostly pentatonic scale, and the phrases are short and fragmented, unable to express herself fully or at length. When the refrain proper comes in, it doesn't become a completely different song, but Diana has clearly stepped into her past memories. The guitar and shaker kick us into tempo, and lyrically she is digging deeper too, with both alliterations and assonance. The titular Miss the Mountains, the manic magic days, and the dark depressing nights. Harmonically, she moves into more standard chord progressions, though with the same pedal tone in the bass, it still has somewhat of a dreamlike quality distanced from her current reality. The bridge becomes even more alive, with not only busier harmonic progressions, but outright modulations too. When the chorus returns, she moves into yet a new key, activating the nostalgic lyric with more riffs and stronger, higher vocals. When she finishes her final, I miss the mountains, I miss my life, she is not resigned, far from it. Instead, she takes her pill bottle and flushes the remaining medication. Hi Catherine, how are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
So it's been, 8 years-ish since we first met. You were playing opposite Stephen Bogardus in the unauthorized autobiography of Samantha Brown, which is finally renamed The Mad Ones. I don't know if you picked up on that.
I did. I think it's whatever they call it, it's a great show. And do you know what's happened to so many of the people in that show?
They've gone on to do huge things.
Yeah, it was a good luck show for people.
It really was.
Megan Fahey, who's in a TV series, is on Bravo. She's amazing. I'm still in touch with her. I love her.
And her friend,
Melissa Benoist.
is our Supergirl.
I actually looked at her and I said, "Are you going to do musical theater? Do you want to do musical theater?" And she said, "Well, I'm thinking about maybe going out to LA and trying some, auditions." And then she booked Glee.
Yeah.
What?
You've had a very varied and successful career. Talk about what your journey to your Broadway debut, which was Diana in Next to Normal.
Yes, it was. So I started out doing this wonderful show. I don't think we realized how great we knew it was wonderful, the show, but the opportunity to sing on stage with a full orchestra was with the music of Andrew Lloyd Webber,
Yeah.
and I sang opposite Michael Crawford, which was a trip. And I made some great friends. We toured all over the States, UK, Australia, Japan, and that sort of led me over to the UK. And I ended up getting a weird audition from that to sing, bizarrely, someone saw me in that and said, would you like to audition to be a backing vocalist for Brian May from Queen, opening for Guns N' Roses? Of course, the natural from singing Andrew Lloyd Webber to singing Queen songs. You know what? When you get a call like that, you don't say no.
And you don't ask questions.
You make it happen. You just go, okay, I'll be right over, flew over, and booked the gig. And from there, stayed in the UK. And at that point, I'd only been working on work permits. So it was really difficult to stay around and audition for stuff without having actual residency and work permits. But somehow I managed to get into a West End show, which is the Roy Orbison musical called Only the Lonely. From that, went back to my more theater roots, Andrew Lloyd Webber, and did Sunset Boulevard, played Betty Schaefer. They took me over to Australia to do that with a little-known Hugh Jackman. And I unfortunately had to kiss every night. Then I stuck around the UK and I did a bunch of stuff there, a couple of leads in some West End shows. And
including some songwriting, right?
I did as well. I would go, that was the beauty of my time there. I ended up becoming a citizen there after 11 years. So I did a West End show, and then I would leave that show, and then I would do some songwriting and go to the songwriting clubs and perform, every day and meet new writing partners. And I got a record deal with Jive Records, and did that for a bit, and just kept bouncing back and forth to theater. It was just an awesome, awesome time.
Did your time in London kind of get the ball rolling for your New York opportunities, or did you feel like you were back pounding the pavement?
In a great way, I felt like the new kid again, but only a little bit more tired and a little bit older. And with a baby. Literally, I'd be like, excuse me, can you hold my child? I'm just going to go sing 16 bars.
You mentioned the tour you did with the Andrew Lloyd Webber show, and that was alongside another one of our mutual friends.
Yes, Elizabeth
Moreland, who you're doing a Linda Ronstadt concert.
That's
again.
So good, yes.
I saw the first performance, I guess, a month and a half ago or so.
Thank you for coming.
And that was neat to reconnect with you in your capacity as a backup singer, which, seemed old hat. You and Joel was the other vocalist who did the vocal arrangements. The three of you together were just stunning.
Joel Wagner, Elizabeth Wardland, there's so many wonderful people working on the show. I sang with Liz, obviously the music of Andrew Lloyd Webber, but also when she did her album launch, I was there at Barnes & Noble singing with her.
That's great.
And we've been dear friends ever since.
And you have one other residency at Green Room that you sing with?
I do. I sing with Frances Raffel. Do you know the original Eponine, Tony Award winning?
Yes.
She has a monthly residency there at Green Room 42. The next one is October 20th, I think.
Great.
Yeah.
Was there a history there between the two of you, or were you matched up by someone else?
Bizarrely, we've been told about each other for years. We only met here and not there, but a million friends have said, oh, you guys have to meet. We are...
When you were in London?
Yes.
Okay.
We are Virgo sisters. We have the same birth date, same year, same exact.
Oh, wow.
So when we finally met, we just connected.
So let's talk about getting into Next to Normal, what the role was like, and I think, I don't want to speak for you, but importantly, standing by for Marin.
So I was planning on doing another show at the time. When I got the call, I was going to play Lady of the Lake in Spamalot in Chicago. Would have been great, right? But Broadway called, literally, you're starting tomorrow. And so I went in very quickly and learned the role very quickly, but there were only about 7 weeks left of the show. I did the last 7 weeks, so it was very fast. And Marin had not gone off. She'd never missed a show in her run. And then there was that phone call one Sunday morning saying, you're on. So that was a bit of a shock to everyone, but yeah, I did it, and I was so grateful for the experience, because to learn something that mammoth and not get to do it is just such a shame. So, but it is so difficult. It's not something you can ever be great at, because you need a run of it to just work some stuff through. So
did they give you a put-in rehearsal?
I had a put-in, yeah, but I'd never done it with the cat, with the
With the full
starring
cast.
cast, yeah. So and I did it with Jason Daniel. He was absolutely wonderful, and Kyle Dean Massey and Megan Fahey, and just everyone was just so wonderful, and I just appreciated. I actually went on to do the show regionally from there. I did it at the Alliance Theater in Atlanta and Jiva Theater as well, with Scott Schwartz directing, and that was just a wonderful experience because I had the knowledge, and then I was able to sort of we were able to create our own. And in Alice's words, this is an Alice Ripley song, and she's absolutely right. It is her song, she owns it, and I'm just borrowing it for the day. So this is at a point in the show when she's feeling very flat, and I remember my sister saying this when because my sister also went through a slightly similar journey of electric shock therapy and a lot of the things that were involved in hallucinations, and very similar diagnoses as well, and she would say how flat she felt, just numb. Like they medicated her and suddenly she didn't want to paint anymore, she didn't feel alive, she just felt dead.
Now you have a show, one-woman show of mainly songs that you've composed, but you performed it up in the Berkshires, this past summer?
Yeah, I've been working on the show. Some people know and some people don't know that I was diagnosed with bladder cancer 2 years ago that went into my kidney. And I had my left kidney that I named Kiki. She was removed on September 11th, 2017 of all days. And my journey with that, because then it went fully into my bladder, and so there's been a little bit of a trip with it, but knock wood on the floor, all is well so far. But I've written my story into a bit of a musical, but it's not one of those. But there is some funny bits to it, some touching bits to it, I hope. And my out-of-town tryout, we call it, my out-of-town tryout, has been at Canyon Ranch. They do a Broadway in the Berkshires series there, so I asked them if I could.
It's like a retreat center, is that right?
Yeah, it's it's a luxury spa.
A luxury spa.
If you haven't been there, you need to take your wife. Save your pennies, though.
Save my pennies.
Yes, it's lovely.
And do you do Miss the Mountains as a part of that show, or am I making that up?
I actually do, yeah. Okay. It's part of the journey because I talk about the anxiety of illness and how there have been times when I've had to, I mean, I'm not a drugs person. I love supplements and any natural remedies that you can find, but there was a period of time where I have been, and I'm not currently, but I have been on medication, and it's helpful.
There was a time when I flew higher, was a time the wild girl running free would be me. Now I see her feel the fire, now I know she needs me there to share. I'm nowhere. These blank and tranquil years, seems they've dried up all my tears, and while she runs free and fast, seems my wild days are past. But I miss the mountains, I miss the dizzy heights, all the manic magic days and the dark depressing nights. I miss the mountains, I miss the highs and lows, all the climbing, all the falling, all the wild wind blows, stinging you with snow and soaking you with rain. I miss the mountains, I miss the pain. Mountains make you crazy, hear it safe and sound. My mind is somewhere hazy, my feet are on the ground. Everything is balanced here, I'm on an even keel. Everything is perfect, nothing's real.
Another part of your recovery and your process was doing some original writing through an organization that we were both a part of called Visible Ink.
Yes.
And this past year, the piece that you wrote that we performed was a beautiful tribute to Marin and kind of that mentorship, and not only as an actor but also as a cancer patient.
So Visible Ink is a wonderful program, and I'm thankful to Marin and Jason to introducing me to it.
Mm-hmm.
So we were coming up with ideas of stuff to write, because through this illness journey, I've been published like 5 times with all my stories, and I was a songwriter, and now I am a blogger, apparently. We were talking about Marin because she had passed last year, and knowing she was involved in the program, he said, why don't you write a piece for her? And I thought, that's just a great idea.
So you have a daughter. Your second album, Gems for Ruby, is that the name?
Gems for Ruby.
Ruby is your daughter, and these are songs that you curated for her, or what was that relationship?
Well, basically, I was asked if I want to do this concept album. So we wanted to take songs from the 70s and 80s that we loved and turn them into ballads.
Okay.
So, which is really difficult to do because they had to be well-known songs.
Mm-hmm.
And by rights, those are songs that already work at the tempos that they were written in,
Right.
Which made them the hits. So it's really difficult to find songs that work like that, but it was a great challenge, and they chose some good ones, and I chose some good ones, and my favorites. They're all my favorites. So I wanted Ruby to know these songs. I did one song, Somebody to Love by Queen, and Brian May played on it for me,
Mm-hmm.
and that was awesome. And I did Summer '69, and that was, Brian actually sent that to Brian Adams and Jim Valance. And actually, Jim Valance and I are now doing a show together, all because of that album.
That's amazing.
Jim Valance and I are doing a show at Birdland on January 28th at 7 p.m.
Great.
So we're just excited.
So upstairs or in the
Downstairs.
Downstairs.
Yeah.
They're both really great venues.
I love it there, with Brad Simmons playing piano,
Mm-hmm.
and the guys from Pretty Woman, because Jim and Brian Adams just happened to write a little musical called Pretty Woman, and the rhythm section from that are going to be in
Oh, that's
there.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. I get to sing all of their hits because Brian Adams isn't available. So.
Well, thanks so much for coming on. If
My
you like this
pleasure.
episode, please give us a thumbs up, comment, share, and follow all of Catherine's work. This is really a pleasure. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
I
Bye.
miss